appropriations, and council correspondence. Do I have a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move we approve the consent agenda with the minutes as amended in the special meeting of March the 16th.
Awesome. And everybody, okay, and everybody remembers that? That we just amended that, okay? That's a weird voice. All right.
It's Valentine coming in.
All right. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving our consent agenda say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Jim, we just approved the minutes, and we were just pointing out that we did have to amend our special session minutes, to note, yes, so. All right, our next up is reports of mayor and council, so, I'll give Jim a little bit of time to gather his thoughts, and we'll start with Mr. Adder tonight.
Anything?
I have nothing.
Well, I do have a comment. I've had, I don't know whether you call it complaints or concerns that people cannot hear us when they watch TV.
Okay.
And, you know, I know that maybe, I don't speak into the microphone always, and I know that my voice is rather low at times. And so, please speak up so people can hear.
Yeah, it really does matter if you speak directly into the microphone and or to the side, if you're more comfortable with that. But certainly the closer you are to the microphone, the better. Thank you, Mrs. Cordy. Anything else? Okay, thank you, Mr. Butts.
I have nothing.
Good job, good job. You listen well. How about you, Mr. Butts?
The tire issue, 721 South C, are we finding out any more about that, or are we playing a shell game here?
There's been no contact to me about 721 South C, other than you mentioning somewhere on South C a complaint. I mean, that you didn't give an address or.
I had 2 or 3 today.
I'm
More
unaware.
tires in the yard.
If they've been reported to our code enforcement, I'm sure they're
Right,
investigating it.
I talked to them, but I thought maybe somebody else, yeah, they said they were, but
I
I thought.
haven't received any update.
Okay, all right. I just hope they're coming from somewhere else. One other question. The last meeting, how many applications did we have for the Housing Authority Board?
One.
Why did we not, that must have flew right over me, why did we not vote on that?
There was no motion, so it died.
Has anybody else applied for that?
Yes, we have one now.
Okay, so then we will go back and vote on it.
Yes.
Okay, that's just what I was asking, it just went right over the top of me.
Yeah, we opened it for 15 days, and I believe that is up on the 6th, so, after that date, we still don't have anyone for, I think it's the Board of Zoning Appeals, we still need someone for that. But those both closed on the 6th, and if there was nothing in either one, then we would open whichever one up for another 15 days. Trying to
So how many people do you are required to?
Just one, just as long as if there's one opening, we need one person to apply, but if that person is not acceptable in some way, or if there's a problem, then there was no motion, so it just opened up again.
Oh, okay, well, that's all I wanted to know, it must have went right over me. Thanks.
It was discussed at the work session. I'm not sure you were there at that point.
Yeah, that was when you were real sick, Jim, and probably a little medicated. Well, I mean, because of your cold, because of your cold and your sickness, not for any other reason.
I had nothing else. I'm done.
Okay, it's getting really fun in here, Mr. Wetta.
The only thing, I found out yesterday that this is Nate Jones' swan song, so wish him luck.
All right.
in his new endeavor.
Yes.
Exploration phase.
Yeah. Nate is leaving Sumner Communications and going to take a job at Exploration Place. And we are very excited to welcome TD, the new camera guy. And we are breaking a whole bunch of first graders' heads at Washington Elementary, where he's currently a para. So if we have first graders giving us evil eye, we know why, because we took their buddy. All right, a couple of things. Saturday, I was very fortunate to participate in a proclamation signing for the Chisholm Trail. I won't read the entire thing, but it was basically myself, Larry Ford from Mayfield, he's the mayor of Mayfield, and Mark Arnold, who's the mayor of Caldwell, and all three of us signed this proclamation, basically commemorating the 150th anniversary of the Chisholm Trail in 2017. This weekend, the Belle Plaine Tulip Time Festival will be Chisholm Trail themed, and then the Caldwell Chisholm Trail Fest first weekend in May, of course, will be a big deal, and then our Wheat Festival will have a Chisholm Trail theme. So the Chisholm Trail is in Sumner County, and we should be very proud of that. So, and just want to also say thank you to the women of the First Free Will Baptist Church. They have been praying for all of us, and more specifically me, which I need all the prayers I can get. So thank you to those ladies, and they put together a packet of some cards and thoughts, and I just want to say thank you very much. You know, prayer is a powerful thing, and we cannot do enough of it. So thank you, ladies. All right, that's all I have. And now we move on to reports of city officials. Mr. Shields?
Nothing on the agenda.
Okay. No public hearing, no ordinances. Our first resolution then this evening is a resolution approving and accepting a bid and authorizing the city manager to execute a purchase order with Winfield Motor Company of Winfield, Kansas for a 2017 Dodge 2500 3/4 ton two-wheel drive four-door truck for the electric production department in the amount of $26,511.05.
This is an item that was approved in the 2017 budget. Some other details certainly to discuss on this one, so we'll turn it over to Mr. Newberry.
This truck, in the remarks that I gave you, is replacing the 1992 Ford Ranger that was, actually the 92 Ford Ranger was inoperable. We ended up selling it about a year ago this April. We have a hand-me-down 97 Ford Ranger. I don't know if you guys remember, but we had a wreck of one of the meter reader trucks. This is that truck that was wrecked. We kind of took the two and kind of Frankensteined them together to make one truck that was usable, and we kind of went that along for a few years here. We've got our use out of that truck. That truck is used to move personnel back and forth between the steam plant down here on the south side of town and the gas turbine that's out on the east side of town. We've kind of changed operations over the years. We used to have a demineralization station at the gas turbine that's out here east of town. We don't have that anymore. So we use a trailer that does our demineralization, and we haul that trailer back and forth between the two sites. That's the reason for the 3/4 ton truck, so we can haul that trailer a little bit safer. The reason for the crew cab is so that we can get the personnel back and forth between the two sites. Right now, there's many days where we're running two vehicles back and forth between the two sites. So this would allow them all to get into one vehicle and make that trip. We sent out bids to 3 different vendors. We received 2 of those back. We are recommending the bid with Winfield Motor Company for $26,511.05, which is about $5,000 less than the closest competitor.
Do you happen to recall if there's anything else in the 2017 budget for the electric department, any other vehicle?
Not for electric production, there's not. This will be the first vehicle that Travis remembers since the 92 Ford Ranger. It's the first vehicle that they've got since then. Not counting the travel car that is used across the city.
Jason, did we not, did the local dealerships not get on this project?
We sent it to, we received a bid back from one.
I did speak out, I'm sorry.
Can we deal with Countryside? I mean, is it possible when you send out bids to try to deal?
We followed our policy that's in place, where we receive sealed bids. We don't get to see those bids until the day that's specified on the bid. Those are opened with department head, staff member, and a member from the clerk's office. Those are recorded, tabulated, and that's what we make our recommendations from. So we just follow policy.
And I did reach out to both Countryside and Kane, merely for the fact of when I was elected, that was one of the things that, and continue to hear is that our local governments, city and county, try to do business locally. And I'd like to say that to Jason and the staff that, you know, with the sealed bid process, you know, their hands are tied with regards to the process in which they go about doing this, and we as a council are the only ones really that can make the decision, as far as I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, Shane, with regards to deviating from that process, and so thus here's you know, here's the way that government works, if you will. The bid, the way I understand it, the reason why you didn't receive a bid back from Ford was they did submit one, but it was late, past the deadline.
Right.
The slippery slope that we're up against from council is that not always are we going to be able to get bids from local businesses, because not always do they provide the services. So if the staff was to go ahead and take these sealed bids and then go back to them and say, well, hey, let's bid against one another, then you know, it's kind of a two-sided sword, if you will. With that being said, I would rather see the money spent locally. I mean, I've really thought a lot about this since looking at the agenda. And, you know, there is a $5,000 difference, but what I've slept on and thought about is the fact that probably at Winfield Motors, you could count on one hand the amount of households that sleep in Wellington. And as opposed to Countryside, there's probably, you know, you could probably count them on two hands and have some left over. So while it is a little bit more, I also thought back to a financing decision that we as a council made to go with financing outside of the city as opposed to with one of our local banks, and I felt like we really dropped the ball on that. So my personal opinion is I would rather see us go with Countryside Motors as opposed to the Winfield, just simply because of the location of it being a local and the fact that they would be able to service it in town and all the rest of the reasons. So I'm nothing against you, Jason. I appreciate you guys doing the process and everything, but for me, I'd rather see us go with the Countryside and spend the money locally. So I'll make a motion.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. What was the budget amount?
$34,000.
$34,000, sir.
So, yeah, I forgot to say that. So with that being said, I would like to make a motion that we purchase the vehicle from Countryside Motors for $31,652.57. That's it.
Okay.
Second.
I have a motion and a second that we approve the purchase of the Countryside Motors vehicle for the amount of $31,652.57. Madam Clerk, please.
Mrs. Holly?
No.
Mrs. Cordy?
Yes.
Mr. Buss?
Yes.
Mr. Valentine?
Well, I'm gonna vote yes, and another reason why is we'll have local service here, where we'd have to take it over there, or they'd have to get the parts and bring them over here, and, because we do not have a Chrysler dealer here, so in a particular case of this, and again, spending your money locally and keeping it here, that's an important thing. So I say yes.
And Mr. Etter?
Yes.
How about me?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Webb.
Yes.
Sorry.
I've been forgotten before.
Skipped right over you. All right, 5 affirmative votes for resolution number 5813.
Okay. All right, our second resolution tonight is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a purchase order with Subsurface Solutions of Gretna, Nebraska for a fault location system for the electric distribution department in the amount of $10,327.75.
This is also an item that was included in the 2017 budget when approved, and I'll turn over to Mr. Newberry.
This is equal to the electric distribution department as far as finding, the location of where the problem lies. We currently have a device that we use for this. It's huge. It weighs about 300 pounds. We have to, roll a generator with it when we use the device. So it's very cumbersome. Therefore, a lot of times it gets left at the shop and not used as often as we'd like to see it used. So this is a device that will fill that void and hopefully make the troubleshooting go a little faster. It is a budgeted item. We had $20,000 budgeted, and we are recommending going with subsurface solutions for the amount of $10,327.75. So well below budget.
Can you sell the old one?
You know, there's probably a market for that, absolutely. And we will look into that. Yes, sure. We don't need two of them.
The purple wave deal.
Yes, we'll look at options, yes.
Okay, do I have a motion then?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to move we approve this resolution.
Okay,
I second.
all right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution authorizing the purchase of a subsurface fault location system. That sounds just cool. All right, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Valentine,
Yes,
Mr. Wetta,
Yes.
Mr. Etter,
Yes.
Mrs. Hawley,
Yes,
Mrs. Cordy,
Yes.
Mr. Butts.
Yes.
6 affirmative votes, resolution 5814.
All right, no study items tonight, but, yes, Mr. Shields?
Well, we do have an executive session, but rather than to offer some reminders now before we get to that executive session, that was in the agenda, but just to mention for the public's benefit, CDBG Housing Rehabilitation Grant. We'll have a public information meeting on that Thursday night, April 6th at 6:30 p.m. That will be at the Sumner County Economic Development Office. Anyone that's interested in that grant, and certainly in the target area, will be well advised to attend that. Our administrator, Mr. Tillman from SCID, will be present to provide information, answer any questions that you may have. The Special Alcohol and Drug Advisory Board will meet April 12th, and April 12th at 5 p.m. is the 13th, I'm sorry. April 13th, the deadline is 5 p.m. that day to submit any request for funding to the Special Alcohol and Drug Fund. And as somewhat mentioned earlier, the Board of Zoning Appeals and the Housing Authority are the two boards that applications are being accepted for, and they are accepted until 5 p.m. April 6th. One other issue to mention, or see if you wish to give us any direction on, is if you recall, we budgeted, $10,000 was budgeted for 2017 for the vehicle used by the IT department for information and technology. The intent was to hopefully try for a federal surplus vehicle. You never know when those are gonna come up. Nothing has came up yet this year. When we received notice of those, Mr. Newberry did look for used cars locally. He can provide you a few more details of that search. Nothing panned out locally in that respect, so they did start looking, just because of the condition of the vehicle we have now. They went ahead and started looking outside, which relates to the doing business at home, I realize that. But they did find a vehicle at CarMax, although they will only hold that vehicle till Saturday. So Mr. Newberry can provide you a few more details on the vehicles and what we have searched for, and then you can, if you wish to give us any direction on.
Okay.
I don't know that I can give you too many more details than what Shane already told you. We did reach out to the local car dealers. We went and looked at some different vehicles. There was a prospect of one vehicle at Countryside, and it actually sold out from underneath us before we could get there. They've got in a couple other vehicles that don't think they're quite gonna meet what we're looking for. we went to King Motors, they gave us, 2 or 3 different options. Again, not exactly what we're looking for, and then we've just struggled to find something that will kind of fit the need. The current van that he's using is a van that was handed down to the IT department from the fire department. And at the time the fire department handed it down, there was a reason they handed it down. It wasn't in the best of operating conditions. We went along, worked great for what we were doing. It's not too roadworthy for out on the highway. It works fine for him tooling around in here in town. But just like today, he needed to go to the lake, to do some work on some IT equipment out there, and he elected to take the travel car, which happened to be available today. It's not available tomorrow. So it kind of presents some issues as far as transportation at times.
Do we have any other department or any other vehicle purchases where there would be one that we could hand down rather than Purple Wave that's coming up?
Like a Ford Ranger?
If we may pass on the Ford Ranger,
I don't know that we'd have any vehicles in better shape, that's the issue.
you know, we're more than, we're fine with a hand-me-down. We don't need a
Right.
new vehicle by any means. The one that we're driving now is a hand-me-down from the fire department. There may be, I don't know, well, as far as options of other vehicles, I don't know if Chief Heath, I know he usually hands down some police cars at times.
I just don't know what was coming up or who.
What are the specifications that you were actually
You know,
looking for?
Currently, he's using a van, and though it may hurt his image a little bit, but it works great for IT.
Right.
Because, you know, we can open up the sides, we can throw computers on the side of it, and we can haul, 5, 6 computers at a time, and
Right.
it works great for that. So we're kind of looking at a van or like a smaller SUV hatchback type thing. The one that Countryside had for us was a little hatchback. It was really small. I mean, we had to fold down the back seat in order to get anything in there, but we were gonna make it work.
Right.
But it unfortunately gone now, so.
What's the frequency that he needs to be gone from here?
It's daily. From here, now, out of town, I mean, that's, maybe once or twice a week, tops.
Did you check with, do we have 2 used car dealers here in town now?
No, I think just one.
I checked with Auto Outlet 2, which is the one down on Harvey and
Right.
81 Highway. And they didn't have anything they thought would meet our need.
Now, what budget is this coming out of? It's not budgeted for, right?
Yes.
It
yes,
is
There's
budgeted.
$10,000 budgeted.
10,000.
I mean, we were planning on used or,
Right.
we're not planning on a new vehicle by any means. And then, as mentioned, we would either move the van to a different location, though I don't think that really fits, or sell it, and then that money would be available to, or go back in the general fund, whatever you guys choose.
So what if we go back to Countryside and say, okay, now we're gonna give you this great truck business, is there anything you can?
There's that possibility.
Okay.
We went, and they've been great to work with, don't get me
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah, no.
I've talked to Dave probably 3 or 4 different times, and
Sure.
he's tried.
Right,
And he's got on the computer and tried to find different cars for us several times.
right.
Just to quote him, to find a car for $10,000 is tough.
Right, isn't that crazy?
It's pretty tough
That you
to do.
can't buy a car anymore for
Do
$10,000.
you need it before the next meeting, or can we?
No, I mean,
We don't have
it
to
was budgeted for this
authorize
year, and to be honest with you, we've been looking since the first of the year. But now it's getting to the point where the van that he's driving is not safe to drive out on the highway, tire steering pump, I mean, you can hear him coming about 3 blocks away.
Right.
Why don't we put it on the agenda for next meeting?
Well, hold on, why do we don't even have to make
No.
The answer to
anything
your-
on that, do we?
The answer to your question is, with the delivery fees, it was 10,301.
Oh,
So it was over 10,000.
Can't you
So-
just go pick it up? It's not
Can't
bad.
break the 10,000 mark policy.
right.
Well, if you tell them what some time is involved, I'm sure they could work a little hard, between them and Kane, maybe they can find something. Maybe not the next meeting, whatever.
Okay.
Well, if you come with something for 10,300, bring it to us the next meeting, if not, take care of it.
What kind of a radius does this vehicle travel? I mean, does it go to Wichita once every
The
2 months?
Wichita trips are gonna be few and far between, and we have other vehicles that are more than capable of making that trip, so
So
the
basically,
Wichita
it's
trip,
just around town and to the lake?
lake, water production, we have several computers of water production. I mean, there's 5 computers out there roughly, and then there's, 3 computers of lake office that he has to maintain. And then wastewater, sanitation, I mean, it adds up.
Conditioned well enough, it would be used as a second travel car.
Right.
I mean, the second travel vehicle we have now is through the electric production, the van, an old van there also. And, I mean, if whatever used car we get well enough, I mean, it will also be used as a second travel car when needed, which is not obviously a daily occurrence, but there is a need occasionally. So
And that's why we were kinda trying to steer away from the ones that 200,000 plus. We're trying to look for something that could meet those needs.
So if we up the budget a little bit,
I think if we
There's
just-
10,000 this year, and then we've got more, we're gonna set more back next year, is that how it went?
We're not planning on that, but
the 10,000 was budgeted with the ideal hope that a federal surplus vehicle would become available.
Yeah,
There's no way of knowing when that will happen.
Maybe I'm going out on a limb, but I'm thinking maybe Countryside Motors might be more apt to get you a really good deal for under $10,000.
yes. Mr. Valentine,
May I make a motion?
sure.
Could we put this off till next meeting to see if you can locate something between then and now?
I don't think there's any need for a motion to put it off. I mean, if you don't wanna do it, that's fine. That's all we need to know. I mean, we have 10,000 budgeted. We will continue to look.
Okay.
And hopefully a federal surplus may come, but hopefully the other van will last until that time comes, so.
Okay, all right. Okay,
thank you.
thanks, guys. Okay. Anything else, Shane?
I don't believe so, no, other than the executive session.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, I move that we recess into executive session for consultation with an attorney, which would be deemed private in the attorney-client relationship, to include the counsel, Shane, and the attorney. Do you need someone else?
And the more specific reason would be pending litigation.
Litigation, okay.
And to, for a period of
Till 7:15.
7:15.
Okay. All right, we will recess into executive session. Do I, oh, I do, okay. Okay, I've got a motion and a second to recess into executive session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.